You are now listening to the Q&E Podcast.
Is this what you want? Huh? Is this what you want? Well, come and get it, goddammit!
What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Q&E Podcast. You're here with your boy Q Hicks right now. I got Edgar on the other line. Edgar, tell the people what's good.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Q&E Podcast. Today, we are welcomed by a very special guest, Daniel Poneman. He's an athlete, agent. He's a Emmy award winning or Emmy-nominated? Emmy-nominated producer, still high up there. Not too many people can say that. Founder of Undiscovered Showcase and co-founder of Beyond Athlete Management. So everybody give a round of applause for Daniel Poneman. Thank you for joining us today.
Glad to have you on, man. Glad to have you on. So this is how I not met Dan, but this is how Dan found out about me. So Tyrell Terry, who is one of Dan's clients at this point, I made a video about him, and it was just like the rise, his story, how he came to what he is now. And now Tyrell is like one of the biggest draft prospects at this point. And Dan ended up following me, man. I just wanted to learn more about your story, more about the background beyond athlete management, and also about your films, bro. So I had to get you on after that.
Yeah, it's cool how I found you. Like, I'm young. I'm 29 years old. I'm a young agent. I'm part of the new generation. So, like, I feel like the old agents might just focus on, like, ESPN or Sports Illustrated for covering their clients. But for me, I'm always looking for new content creators, younger people, because a lot of these young kids are watching YouTube channels. They're watching YouTubers. They're not focused on ESPN or what's on TV. So I like to find the younger, up-and-coming content creators and build relationships. And I saw, I was just had a news alert on, and I saw your little video on Tyrell. Like, man, this is dope. Let me reach out to this guy. So I appreciate that.
Hey, man, appreciate that. But yeah, man, first I just want to dive into like your background and like your journey to getting to the point where you're at now. So you're from Chicago, Illinois. How did somebody from there have their own company, a founder of Beyond Athlete Management, a basketball scout? How did it get there in a 10-year process?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, part of the reason, again, why like I like to do pods like this or connect with younger content creators, because I was one of you guys at a point. That's how I got started, was the media side.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, in Evanston Township High School, the north suburb of Chicago, when I was a freshman in high school, I started a blog writing about high school basketball. I used to rank players. I used to interview players. I rode that early wave of social media. So when I was a freshman in high school, Facebook dropped. Like, it was new at that point. So I used to use Facebook to reach out. I used to use AOL Instant Messenger and Facebook to reach out to high school players and interview them for my website. So, this was 2005, 2006. Yeah. So while everyone was kind of, still, maybe reading the newspapers for information about high school basketball, my blog grew as like the go-to source for high school basketball. So that was really my entry point into the business. Mm-hmm. Then YouTube dropped my junior year. And that was one of the first people in the high school space to start doing YouTube interviews with high school players. So I was 16, 17 years old interviewing, Austin Rivers, Kyrie Irving, Jared Sullinger, Anthony Davis, all these guys when they were in high school. And that was really my entry point into the business. Flash forward to years later, I was 24 years old and had spent at that point 10 years, helping players with their recruitments, talking to college coaches and helping them identify players. And really, I had multiple cycles of players where I'd seen them from high school through college through pro. And that was a point where a lot of people started saying, hey, Dan, you should be an agent. I want you to be my agent. Can you help me pick an agent? And it kind of got to a point where I was like, all right, maybe I should just try this out. And when I started, right away, it clicked. It was like, okay, I'm good at this. I've been training for this for a decade without even knowing it. And I love it. I get to help people. I get to work with these athletes that people watch on TV, and I get to actually help them build careers. And I loved it and haven't looked back since.
Damn, that's dope.
Wow, that's what's up. Because I was actually going to ask you what inspired you to take this path. But based off of everything you just said, it's kind of like God just had a lot of things just fall in your lap on your path without you even realizing it. The way you said Facebook came while you were in high school, you said, and then YouTube came shortly after that. So it's like two of some of the biggest social media platforms dropped in your lap, and you took it head on and just ran with it. And you were one of the first people, like you said, to like actually start doing that. So in a way, you kind of like pioneered it before anybody else big even tried to, and you did it on a local level. You did it on a high school level. So it was more easier to get in touch with people, and it's not like you were trying to aim for big people right off the top. So that's crazy to me.
Were you traveling back then, or were you just staying in Chicago?
Oh yeah, I was traveling. I mean, so here's what I used to do. I was still in high school, so I couldn't book a hotel room by myself. You got to be 18.
Yeah.
I didn't have my driver's license. I couldn't drive. So I would like hit up AAU teams and be like, hey, if I could travel like as one of your players to this tournament, I'll write about your team when we go there. I'll make you highlight videos, whatever. So I was traveling to AAU tournaments with Mac Urban Fire, Full Package, Rising Stars, Mean Streets, all these AAU teams from Chicago. So I got to, when I was in high school, weekends and summers, I was going to South Carolina for the Nike Peach Jam. I was going to Vegas for the Super 64. I was going to, Kingwood Classic in Houston. Those were my weekends through high school. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like people always ask, like, oh, how did you decide to do this? Like, I didn't decide; it was decided for me. The path was laid out, and I just kind of walked down it. I got really lucky. It's a lot of perfect timing, Like with the YouTube thing, now there's hundreds of people doing high school basketball interviews on YouTube. It's really hard to break through that space.
Exactly.
And I was the first one. It was like really like even before Ball is Life, I was like the first one. So if you were to Google or YouTube Harrison Barnes, first thing you would see, there's me smiling right next to him. So I was able to build a personal brand that way. I got really lucky that I was able to live in that pre-social media world and then ride that wave with the early social media.
You had the perfect transition.
Yeah, good timing.
Because I see you, when I was looking you up, I see you didn't have like a college to your name. So you didn't even go to school like for journalism or anything like that. Like you just really just transitioned into it.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I grew up in Evanston, so north side of Chicago. It's the first suburb just north of Chicago. It's where Northwestern is. So I was close with the coaching staff at Northwestern. I was helping them recruit. I was trying to stack my local team. Okay. So I was planning on going to Northwestern to be a team manager. But actually my senior year of high school, I decided I was going to try to take a year off, not go to college and see how that went. And my parents were supportive and I had a business. Now my business was going a little bit. Took a year off and never looked back. So I finished high school when I was 17 and just kind of went took that plunge and never looked back. That was 12 years ago.
That's crazy, bro.
Man, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
You got another one? Another question I had was, what were some of the hardest lessons you learned starting off in this business? Whether it could be when you first started with YouTube or like when you first got into the real agent world, what were some of the hardest lessons you learned right off the bat?
Man, I've learned so many. I've had so many, lessons I learned the hard way, right? You always say like someone could teach you a lesson by talking, but the only way you really learn the lesson is by experiencing it, right? So I was lucky that I got a lot of those lessons out of the way that were tough at the time. But when I was young, I'm still learning. I'm still young, I've only been an agent for 4 years, but shoot, I mean, some of the early lessons were like, I was 15, 16. I had college coaches from around the country reaching out to me for information to help them recruit players.
Wow.
I'm thinking like, wow, this is so cool. These guys are my friends. They're on the phone. I'm seeing them on TV. And then you start to learn like, okay, these people might be using me. These people might have different motives. You might put on a face of a good person. This might not be the best guy. And you kind of see people's true colors when, okay, you're going through the recruiting process and the player you're helping is getting recruited by 5 schools. And if they don't pick that school, you find out, is that person still my friend or is that person going to turn on me? And, I also saw really through the agent world when I had players I was close with who started being, real big time, like NBA potentially. And I'm seeing agents reach out to me and try and offer me money and get guys' phone numbers. And I'm like, okay, wow, this business is, maybe I'm it's in over my head at times. I'm 16, 17 years old and big boy business. But I learned those lessons, the hard way sometimes, but it also prepared me for my career as an agent because I got to see who I did want to be and who I didn't want to be. I got to learn from an early age, like, okay, that guy, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be that guy. I want to be who I am, Other lessons I learned was like, I hear a lot of young people will come to me and be like, Dan, you didn't go to college. I don't want to go to college either. I just want to jump in and do X, Y, and Z full time because they saw how I started and they see where I am now and they didn't see everything in between.
Right.
Going to college was a tough thing. When you're 17, 18, 19 years old and all your friends have, the structure of a college campus, they got classes, they have a schedule, they got the cafeteria, and I'm all alone trying to create my own path. You don't go to class every day and have that camaraderie with the other students. You don't have a teacher telling you what to do. You got to wake up on your own time, create your own schedule and pave your own way. And you can see where I started and see where I finished, but there was a lot of failure in between that taught me a lot of tough lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't really think about it that way. They just see certain people didn't go to school and got successful. So a lot of people start thinking, well, I don't have to go to school because these people didn't, X, Y, and Z didn't. So what makes you think I have to go to school? But like you said, you make your own schedule and you have to abide by that own schedule.
Yeah.
Like no one tells you when to get up. No one tells you when to research your own information. No one tells you when to go out there and in the field and do work. Like, it's all on you. And a lot of people don't think that. They think, oh, I could just wake up one day, be my own boss, and then eventually I'll get something big happen. No, it's a lot of failures, and it's a lot of things that go into it. So I'm glad you gave the light and the dark side of that.
And also, that was like a different era. If you were trying to be like an agent, at least, you really didn't need a college degree like you were needed, or if you were trying to be an agent today. Like, a lot of these agents, like, you have to have a college degree. I think that was like a NCAA rule now. For like for NBA agents, you had to have college degrees. Back in 2005 and 2010 or whatever, he broke into that agent realm. It's like the degree wasn't necessary like it was now. Like the Rich Pauls came up in that time. Like, he didn't have a college degree. Like, people like that. But now it's like it's really necessary to have it, I guess, moving forward.
Well, so what's interesting is like that rule actually got flipped. It got changed because there was the internet, that backlash, and it was funny.
Because of Rich Paul.
Well, yeah, people were talking about Rich Paul, the Rich Paul rule. But, I was probably the only other agent with NBA players who would have been affected by that rule. Because I think everybody has a degree except for like maybe me, Rich Paul, and Jay-Z,
Yeah.
And obviously I'm not in the same conversation. I'm not in the same conversation as those guys, but like I would have really been affected by that rule.
Yeah.
But luckily it flipped. But actually, I think to your point, it actually is opposite in some sense. I think 10, 15 years ago, people looked at it as, oh, you need a college degree to be taken seriously, to be credible. A lot of people told me, Dan, you're going to regret not doing this because, one day you're going to need that degree. And I always said, like, if someone needs me to prove a college degree to prove something, I don't want to work with that person. Anyway, I was kind of an arrogant young person, like, man, I don't need that. But then when that rule dropped, I was like, damn. Like, am I gonna have to take online school to get my certification? Like, I'm already certified, but am I like gonna have to, do 4 years of school just to keep my career? Yeah. But luckily, that rule flipped, and I think more and more now, people are starting to see that you might not need college. Everybody has different paths. You don't need to take on $200,000 of student loan debt just to, be validated and to prove yourself. A lot of people go through school and have that debt and still can't get a job. So, sorry, my phone rang.
Oh, no, you good.
Yeah, so I think now actually it's becoming more widely accepted, to not have a degree and, to be judged off of your credentials and not off of a piece of paper. And again, that's not to discredit anyone from going to school, because I think there's a lot of valuable things to be gained from going to school. Yeah. I was lucky that I had a path laid out for me where I kind of knew what my career was. I had my relationships, I had my sources of revenue. But like, if I didn't have that, like, college is a great place to go. You can create connections, you can learn about different subjects. I mean, it's funny, I always say my life goal is to make enough money that I can retire and then go back to college so I can just learn all the time. You know? Yeah, it can be a great thing. It just wasn't right for me.
I feel it. So can you take us through a day in the life of an agent? I've always heard stories of, man, agents don't get no sleep, man. They're on go all the time. So can you just take us through the day in the life and just like the mindset you have to keep up with that lifestyle, man?
Every day's different. Every day is different. But it is a 24/7 job. Like, that is the difficult thing. It's like, I remember right before I became an agent, and I knew it was coming. In a sense, I took 6 months where I was off social media because I knew I was not going to be able to turn off my phone until I retired, in a sense. So I took 6 months and I read books, and I was, I would meditate. I'll go for walks, preparing my mind mentally for this marathon. Because when you commit to being there for somebody and representing their career, you're making a 24/7, 365 commitment. You're there for whatever they need. So I have clients that play in the NBA, guys in the NFL, but also guys who play in Korea, Australia, Italy, Israel, right? So I got to have my phone on all hours of the night in case something happens, something goes wrong. I'm the lifeline in a lot of sense. So it really is a 24-hour job. Like people think about an agent, they think about the negotiating of contracts, which is a primary responsibility. I have to make sure our guys are getting paid the most money from the right teams and put in the best positions possible to succeed on the court or on the field. Also endorsement deals. Got to make sure that they're getting their deals off the court. But that only is a small fraction of what the job is. You're really, I think the primary role of an agent is to guide a player's life and career in the way that they want it. Figure out what their goals are in life and on the court, off the court, in philanthropy in their community, and help guide them and build that life and career that they want. So I think maybe 30 years ago the job of an agent was show me the money, but now the job of an agent is, all right, where do we want to end up? How do we get there? And it's our job to help build that career and guide that career in a partnership with our clients.
And that's crazy that you said you had to take like a 6-month social media break, because I've never heard an agent speak like that before. Like you said, most agents, we get the stereotype of show me the money. It's all about the money. The agent is the person who just dials everyone and says, hey, this person wants this much, and boom, like they hang the phone up. That's what we're shown in movies, TV shows, and you never really see the life of the agent. So the fact that you said you really had to meditate and get yourself ready for that kind of world and more, like that's just crazy to me.
And do you have an outside life? Like, do you have not to be rude or nothing, but like you have a social life, or is it just like all like about the players 24/7?
It's interesting. Like there's a blurry space between social life and agent life, because some of my clients are my best friends. Some of my partners at the agency are my best friends. So I have a lot of fun, but maybe it's work and fun, Yeah. I do have a girlfriend, we've been together for almost 6 years. So she makes sure that I take time away to go on dates and go on trips. And she's kind of my balance, where she makes sure I'm not doing it 24/7. Yeah. But outside of that, outside of family, like I don't have the most robust, what some people call social life, but because my job is inherently social. My job is to talk on the phone all day. My job is to communicate with people and build relationships. So when I'm away from that job, usually what I want to do is shut my mind off. I want to read a book. I want to watch a movie, because, when you're social all day, sometimes you don't want to be social on Saturday.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And I wanted to know, in my class, I have a sports media and society class, and we had a guest speaker on there named Annalise Mattel. I go to University of Florida, and she's a graduate from UF, and she's vice president of player development for the Philadelphia 76ers. So what I wanted to know is, are you as an agent and player developers kind of similar in a sense? Because the path that she told us a player developer has to take, they're kind of responsible for figuring out the brand of certain players they're assigned to and figuring out what can they do on and off the court to accommodate to each player. So do you feel player developers and agents kind of share a similar role?
Well, here's how I see it. It takes a team, right? So the player is the CEO of their company, essentially. And I would say the agent is usually like the president, right? We're like partners with them in running that. And we build a team around each player of people that, can all contribute to this path, right? So it's like you got your first thing we do, we sign up players. All right, this is who you're going to train with for pre-draft. This is your nutritionist. This is your strength trainer. This is a person your graphic designer, and sometimes they need a therapist or a mental health coach, right? You build people around them that all are great at what they do. And that's the company that is that player. And ultimately that player is a CEO. And maybe I'm coordinating all of these other providers, but I can't do it on my own. I can't be everything to everybody. I do what I do really well. And we find people who do what they do really well. We all come together to help that player build their career.
Mm-hmm. So I want to dive more deeper into, because most of your clients are NBA, correct? So I want to dive deeper into the NBA draft process and how that has affected you and the players. Obviously, a longer offseason than we've ever seen before, and the NBA draft keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. How has that affected you and your business and the way you guys usually go about things over there?
Well, it definitely changed the pre-draft process. Normally, pre-draft is maybe like April or May through June. So it's a 2-month process. Well, this year it was 6-7 months. But luckily, our players at Beyond Athlete Management took advantage of that. They didn't relax. So we have a few guys preparing for the draft, most notably Tyrell Terry and Caleb Wesson.
Mm-hmm.
And they're two of the guys who I think have risen the draft boards more than anybody else because they work. I was with Tyrell the other day, and we were with his strength trainer, and he noted that it was the 120th session of the off season. So they had 120 lifting sessions from April to November. And that's real. Those are real gains. And usually you don't get that long of an off season. So some of our guys really were able to take advantage of that time to just get better. But there are a lot of other things that change. You know, there are things we have to worry about now that we don't have to worry about. I'm always worrying about the health and safety of our clients, which I wasn't thinking about that in that context this time last year. We have guys overseas. I have a player in Bulgaria who just hit me and said, Nico Carbacho, and said one of his, the athletic trainer for his team got the coronavirus, and he was taping his ankle 2 days ago. So I'm half around the world worrying about the safety of someone who I've been trusted, you know, with their career. And that wasn't a thing last year. So the whole virus pandemic situation has definitely changed the role, you know, or changed the way that we look at our job and made us think about new things. But I also think that makes it even more important for us to be there for our clients and to stay on top of it. Because if you have an agent with 40, 50 clients, they might not be able to put the attention that you need to keep you safe. Like when the pandemic first hit and we had players all over the world, we had to get them back to America. I was grateful that I only have 12, 15 clients because I had to coordinate each one of those guys getting back to the States. If I have 50 clients, I might have had someone stranded in Europe, not being able to get back. So it's definitely thrown a wrench in our jobs, but you know, I'm lucky that our industry hasn't been hit as hard as others. I'll say that.
Did you have to travel overseas at all much before coronavirus came, or was it always just over the phone?
Yeah, no, I travel. I usually take one international trip a year. So actually right before Corona hit, I was in Australia visiting Jay Sean Tate, one of our guys who was
Ohio State?
Ohio State, yeah.
Yeah, I remember, bro.
So he was playing for the Sydney Kings in the Australian NBL. They were in the playoffs, so I went to their playoff series, and then they were actually in the championship when everything got shut down. And then the year before, I went to Belgium to see Jay Sean, and went to the Netherlands to see Darius Thompson. So every year I'll take one international trip, and we'll see when the next one is. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So for all the athletes you cover, which sport do you feel is a little bit easier or a little bit tougher to be an agent for? Because I know you have football players and basketball players, and like how you just said, some basketball players are here in the U.S., some are overseas. So do you ever feel like, damn, like this football life is harder than basketball or vice versa?
So I'm not a football agent. Our agency, which I'm a co-founder of, has football, but we have football agents who cover football. I work some of the off the field stuff with our football players. But we trust the football. I think it's too hard for one person to be that much of a specialized expert in multiple sports. It's a 24/7, 365 job for me to understand what's going on with basketball, with the foreign markets, with the NBA, with each roster, with the salary cap. I wouldn't want to dilute that by having to learn all of that for football as well. So, all I know is basketball. I've been basketball since day one. I'm a football fan. Our agency, our 8 football agents do a great job with football players, but that's not really my area of expertise.
Okay. So just getting back to Rich Paul really fast, we see that he had the workout, a pro day workout for 2 of his clients, for Tyrese Maxey and for Anthony Edwards. Do you think that could possibly be the future if this coronavirus keeps continuing into the future years?
Well, I think all of us agents had to, get creative in how we showcase our clients during Corona, because normally during the pre-draft process, our players would have been flying around the country.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, team draft workouts.
So, they did the ESPN thing, which was one way to do it. We had a different strategy where we were creating highly produced, high-quality video content to circulate about our players. So each agency found a different way to get the word out. And I think with the pandemic, it forced agents to get more creative. It wasn't the same plan that everyone goes through every year. It was like, all right, here's a wrench in the situation. Here's a totally different landscape. How are you going to be creative and make the most out of it? So everybody had a different strategy, and I got to give props to them for getting the ESPN plug. But I think what we did was effective too.
Yeah, because I remember that one video I posted with Tyrell where he was lifting weights, he was shooting, he looked bigger. I think that really or his stock really rose after that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
but
I
it's
really
funny.
like
People
that.
were giving me credit like, oh wow, that video you did at Tyrell was all right. Well, what was really good was that Tyrell gained the muscle. He
Yeah, that's
did
what
the
I'm saying.
work,
Yeah, he
right?
looked
If
different. Yeah,
he showed up in the video looking the exact same as he did in April, no one would have watched it. But
that's
he
true.
did the actual work to get jacked, and all
Yeah.
we did was the video.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
that dude did the work, 120 sessions.
I see it.
yeah,
Because he grew an
it's
inch as well,
definitely
didn't
evident. Yeah.
Yeah, he grew it. I can't take credit for that. I don't think he can either. That just
he? Yeah, that's what's up.
So when being an agent, do you usually have athletes come to you, or do you usually go to athletes, or does it depend on where you're at in your agent career?
both. It's a little of both. I think the best, you have to do some recruiting as an agent. You have to do some outreach to get new clients. But the best recruiting is doing a great job for the clients you have. If you look at and Jay Sean Tate with Ohio State, well, this year Caleb Wesson and Andre Wesson from Ohio State came to our agency because we, Jay Sean thought we did a good job, so he referred us. And I think, if you really pour into the guys you have, word spreads. But there's always an aspect of recruitment. There's no good player that's just waiting around like, oh, I wish I had an agent. If you're a top 100 player in the draft, every single agency is recruiting you. But sometimes that relationship, a referral will be the icing on the cake to make you trust one agency over another.
Okay. Yes, because I was just going to ask that. Like, how did you even woo Jay Sean Tate, Caleb Wesson, and Tyrell Terry? Was that relationship already there, or did somebody put them on to you before? Or was it a good connection between?
Just relationships, you just, it's all, life is relationships, it's business is relationships. It's about trust. And, it's difficult being in a position as a 18, 19, 20-year-old, kid trying to pick who to trust. Because you got all these agents coming at you saying,
Exactly.
I can give you this money. I can do this. I can do that. I got this play. Well, how do you know if you can trust this person? But I was in those shoes 10 years ago where I had friends who were, going to go to the NBA, and I had agents trying to tell me the same thing, trying to sell me the same thing. So my strategy has always just been an authenticity, be myself, say what I can do, don't oversell, undersell, over deliver if you can, and trust that the relationships will win out. And I would say, every client that I've got came from a personal relationship with someone who knew them, who was able to put in a good word and refer me, based on, what I've done in the past and my credibility. So hopefully that'll be able to continue.
So yeah, I wanted to dive into the film that you have produced in the past. The one I watched today, Shot in the Dark, was amazing. Definitely want to applaud you guys, everybody who directed that film. I forgot the people name, Taekwon Greer and Marquise Pryor, bro. Oh my goodness. And I just wanted to talk about, I love the way you guys showed the dichotomy of Chicago, at least on the basketball stage as well. Because you had Taekwon Greer, who was going through the same things as Marquise, but he was keeping his head above water. He was going with the basketball thing, but you also showed Marquise Pryor and how he fell through the cracks in a sense in West Side of Chicago and was in jail multiple times. So I love the way you guys showed how it can go either way, and it's really not anybody's fault. It's just the city.
Yeah. How did you find Shot in the Dark? Where'd you find it?
It was on Fox. I had found it on Fox News. They gave me like a 60-minute preview, and I had watched it on 2 different devices. So
nice. Yeah, because one frustrating thing, it was on Fox. We sold the film to Fox, and they still have it, but it's not on streaming. So everyone tried that. Oh, I looked on Netflix. I looked on Hulu. It's not there because you have to wait for it to come on TV on Fox sometime. So I'm happy you're able to find it. But yeah, that doc was. I started filming that when I was 21 years old. Me and 2 friends. We no budget, 1 camera, some sound equipment, just like really bootstrapping it, just trying to figure out. It was our first feature film. And you say like we showed the 2 different ways that a career could go, which is true, but it's not like we manipulated that to like.
Oh no, that's just how it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just you pick a team on the West Side of Chicago, and like that's the unfortunate reality of the way things go. Is not everybody's going to pick it out, and people are going to fall by the wayside due to the conditions. If you look at that team, a few guys, got shot. A few guys ended up in jail. A few guys went to college and ended up coming back home because they weren't prepared to succeed. So we really wanted to show, like when we started filming that movie, it was at a time when like Chief Keef was in the news a lot, and the shooting was in the news a lot, and it was all, drill music was all about the murder in Chicago. That's what the whole national media was, murder capital. And we wanted to show the human side of that. Like, okay, this isn't about headlines. This isn't a sensationalized story. Like Vice was coming into Chicago for a week and, acting like it was some type of like, I don't know. It was just like they wanted to sensationalize it. We were like, all right, well, we're actually going to spend years here and show the true story, the human side, how difficult it is for these kids who want to do well for themselves. They want to make it out. They want to, do right by them, themselves and their families, but it's difficult in those conditions. When you have one team and the school divides gang territories where guys live on different sides of the school, can't even go to each other's house, how difficult it is to make it out of that. And, Taekwon, to his credit, was able to rise above it against all odds. And I saw Taekwon the other day, and he's got a son now, he's got a career, he's doing well for himself, but that's the outlier. Not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
And I love the way you captured that, because Quincy and I were both from St. Petersburg, Florida. It's not as intense as Chicago, but we do come from a city where we've seen a lot of people we've grown up with, family with, friends with, that they chose the side of life that they chose, even though we were all exposed to it sooner or later at some point in time. People like Quincy and I, we chose our path and other people chose theirs. Some people didn't really have a say, so it was just the environment they grew up in, and they were a product of their environment. So I love the way you captured that too, just like Quincy, because there's cities like this everywhere. But I feel like it was important that you did it in Chicago because you showed it happening during a time period of drill music where it's quote unquote the murder capital of the nation. And if you can have successful people make it out of these type of situations, it could be prominent throughout the entire country anywhere. And I feel like that's just a strong sense of hope with that film that you created, because you're showing it happen in one of the worst environments. So if it can happen here, don't feel like your small city is left out. If it can happen here, it can happen anywhere.
Yeah. So how did you guys get Dwayne Wade and Chance the Rapper to be executive producers for that film? I ended up seeing that today.
Just personal relationships. I knew Chance back when he was in high school when he put out the 10-day mixtape.
Yeah.
So
that's what's up. That's what's up.
Chance saw the film, connected with it. It was something he connected with and wanted to be a part of. And then Dwayne Wade, actually, his agent went to my high school, is a friend of mine. We had a couple relationships.
Henry Thomas?
Well, Henry passed away tragically, but someone who worked under Henry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, went to my high school, and I was able to connect with Dwayne through that and some other relationships. Actually, it was cool. Like, it was probably, I'd say 7 years ago, like early. We had just had our first cut of the film. I flew down to Miami and went to Dwayne's house, and we did a screening for him, and he gave us notes, and that was definitely a cool moment too. Because Chance, like, I knew him, that was like a friend, but Dwayne, he had been attached to the project, but I didn't know him like that. So to get to actually spend time and hear his notes on the film and his feedback was definitely cool. But I think because of the message of the film and because of this important story that it told, with Chance and Dwayne both being from Chicago, they wanted to just attach themselves to it to uplift that message and get that word out. And to your point about it was about Chicago, but it was really about every city in America. It could have been anybody, and it shows both sides of it. And I think this was before the Black Lives Matter movement and then George Floyd and everything that's happened. But I think when you watch that film through the lens of what's happening now, you can see so many elements of what people are upset about in that film. It's like one part of America wants to say, oh, it's not so bad. There's no systemic racism. There's no this. Well, you look at that film and all of the obstacles that these kids had to face to make it out. Like, everywhere you look, everything was stacked against them.
Exactly.
Right.
You can't compare a kid in that situation to a kid who grew up where I grew up in the suburbs, where everything was the path was laid out for me.
I was say it was flat out laid out.
It was laid out for me. And you look at everything Taekwon had to overcome, and the fact that he made it out, he is the outlier. For him, it's amazing that he was able to make it to where he did, but not everyone was that fortunate to have basketball as a way to help him out. Taekwon will go on his block and with his gang, I guess you would call it, CCG. There'd be guys in the corner selling drugs, this and that. But it's like, they didn't want to be there, they don't want to be in that circumstance, but
Yeah.
The
It's
environment
survival mode.
doesn't give them any other options.
Yeah.
It's survival mode.
And like these 10 basketball players on the team had an outlet, they had a way out, but a lot of guys in that neighborhood don't have that. And we wanted to show that side of it too. And that's why actually I thought it was important that it premiered on Fox, because that actually shows, a lot, I think, to the other side of America who maybe never got a look into the obstacles that some of these young men are facing, and maybe humanized the side of America that they villainize.
Yeah, that's real. But how amazing was it when he hit that shot at the end of the film, bro? It was just like, felt like everything was culminated. Like Edgar said before, It really just felt like hope at the end of the day. And I know y'all wasn't expecting that, just filming everything that you guys filmed, but it felt like that was a great climax throughout the film. That was definitely a great climax.
Bro, when he hit that shot, like, we've been filming for 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, y'all climax.
It's not like we knew he was going to hit the shot.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
When he hit that shot, I remember I was in the upper bleachers of the gym, and we had 3 cameras there. I remember he hit it, and at first I was like, and then I was like, we better got that. So I looked at the one and blocked eyes. Like, you got it? Like, I got it. I looked at him, got it. I was like, oh shit, we got it. So that night we go out to Applebee's or something, and we're all kind of like, I can't believe that just happened. And I remember tweeting, does anyone have a contact at ESPN? And then someone DMs me like, oh, I got this person, yada, yada, yada. So I messaged with them. Shot gets on SportsCenter that night.
Yeah.
And that was when, everything changed. For us, this little quiet little project we had spent 3 years kind of filming on our own. And then people were taking our meetings after we hit that shot.
Yeah.
And it was, how it led to, Fox and all these other Emmys and all these other things.
That's crazy. And you add in the fact that he was just shot 9 days before, and he's playing a basketball game and a game winner. It was that chain was.
You can't write stuff like that. You can't write stuff like that.
Sometimes reality is crazier than.
Yes, definitely.
In that script, someone wouldn't have believed it. But you just, you put yourself in a position to get, for that type of thing to play out. I was going to say put yourself in a position to get lucky, but it's the opposite. It was unlucky. Obviously, Taekwon getting shot was an awful thing. Mm-hmm. But, for that to play out in the way it did with the shot, and now, Taekwon, next thing you know, he's, hanging with Dwayne Wade, and it's like, I don't know. Sometimes life, what you think is a tragedy turns into something positive. But when he got shot, I remember I woke up and I had gotten all my whole phone was filled with texts. And they had, people were sending screenshots of Taekwon on Instagram, was in the hospital bed. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, my heart drops. I'm like, oh my God, it was like the worst thing. So I call his phone, he picks up. He's like, yeah, bro, I'm good. Like, I just left the hospital. I'm on my way to my house, meet me there. Mm-hmm. And my heart's racing. I'm driving to his house. Like, and he's like, no, I just got hit in the leg. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'm good. I'm gonna be back on the court. I'm like, all right, you're not gonna be back on the court. Like, yeah, right. 9 days later, back on the court. Still had bullet fragments in his leg, back on the court. Yeah. So credit to him that mentally overcoming that. I mean, physically, but mentally, and persevering through it. But, growing up where he grew up and the circumstances he had already overcome so much. He was already a warrior, Mm-hmm. So credit to him for persevering and now making to where he is today, a college graduate. He won a D2 national championship at Ferris State University. Yep. Now he's a professional. And I'm really proud to be his friend.
I'm surprised you're not his agent right now. You're his agent?
No, he doesn't play. He's not a pro basketball player. He's a pro in life.
Oh,
yeah, I'm about to say. Yeah, when you said pro, I was like, I don't think you meant like.
That's I was like, oh, you playing pro? Like D2? I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised. But you said you had another film as well, Becoming. I think you had said.
Oh, that was. I worked on a few other films. I worked on Student Athlete, which was executive produced by LeBron James, Robert Carter, Steve Stout. That was on HBO. That was about the NCAA.
I remember that one. Yep.
I think I didn't see the whole thing, but I seen some of that.
Yeah, I worked on a film called Amateur that was on Netflix.
I seen that with the dude from Power.
Yeah, I was in that movie. If you watch it, I played myself in that movie.
Is it still on there?
Yeah, it's on.
It's still on there?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch that because I've definitely seen it. I just didn't click on it. Wow, I definitely gotta watch that.
It's funny. My intramural basketball teammate Ryan Koo is a director, and he asked me for help with some of the basketball scenes, like casting basketball players, and just like basically as a consultant. And then I read the script, and there was a role for, they called it Young Basketball Scout. I was like, all right, Ryan, like I'll help you cast these basketball players, but I'm playing myself in your movie. He's like, bet. So they flew me out to the set, gave me a trailer, got my 3 lines in. It's my acting debut. So that was cool.
You said that was with Ryan Coogler?
Ryan Coog, not Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coog. I was going to say, damn, like.
No, he's a director based out of New York. And most recently, on Disney Plus, there's a film called Becoming that I played a little role in, that about Anthony Davis's journey.
Yeah,
that's on Disney Plus. Just came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
I gotta watch that too, then.
Yeah. So what are we gonna see next from you, bro? What is next from producing, at least?
I don't even really have any projects, and I think Shot in the Dark I didn't intend to become a film producer, right? Shot in the Dark was something that I spent 7 years on. That was like a passion project. That was my first swing at producing, and it worked out pretty well. Those other projects kind of just were things I was asked to help with along the way. I'm a sports agent. I'm not, film producing is something that I do. It's fun, but I'm focused on building beyond athlete management and maybe doing some documentaries about our clients. You could see that in the future, but there's no feature films in the works. But you never know; things could change overnight. So stay tuned.
That's real.
So take us through Undiscovered Showcase, and for anybody who doesn't know, explain what it is and the impact it's had since you created it.
Yeah. So Undiscovered Showcase, started over 10 years ago. So when I was a young scout and I just got out of high school, I kind of had the realization that I had this platform where I could help people. Like, again, everyone was calling my phone about Anthony Davis, but I realized that someone like Anthony Davis or Jabari Parker maybe didn't need my help that much, right? Because they were making it with or without me. They were good, right?
Yeah.
I can make a highlight video here and there, but it was at a point like those guys are good. There's all these kids in Chicago who aren't maybe high major players, aren't D1 players, but could use basketball as a way to create a better life for themselves. Maybe someone like Taekwondo Greer. So I created the Undiscovered Showcase as a way for undiscovered players to get seen by colleges from Division IIs, Division IIIs, JUCOs, and mostly JUCOs, really just a way for guys to get out. So it started out 10 plus years ago. I would run these little showcases where I'd invite all the top unsigned seniors after their senior season to come play in showcases for college coaches to come watch them from small schools. These are schools you've never heard of, Malcolm X College and Lee Junior College and Kennedy King, like the schools you're not seeing on ESPN, but they have full scholarships. Mm-hmm. So it started out small and grew and grew and grew. Evan Turner became a sponsor about 5 years ago, put some money behind it where no kid would ever have to pay to play in the event. It was just free for everybody, which is a blessing. And now it's grown to the point that, other people are really running it. Like I'm an agent, so that's my full-time job. It's a full nonprofit, but the full team that year-round is helping young people from Chicago get into schools. At our last showcase, which was a year and a half ago because it had to get canceled this year because of coronavirus, there's 270 players, 130 college coaches, and 52 kids end up getting scholarships from the showcase to go to college for free. Wow. And every kid play for free. They get a jersey, they get food, they get 2-day showcase. And again, none of these are D1 schools. These are all small colleges. None of these kids are going to play in the league. But the mission of the foundation is to help empower players to utilize basketball to further academic achievement, with the hope that one day they'll return to their community as a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor, as someone who can reinvest what basketball gave them and reinvest that back into their community to help more people.
I gotta applaud that, bro. I gotta applaud that for real. Cause we always try to show highlight to JUCO athletes, D2, D3 schools, and everything like that. Cause we have friends that we grew up with who played JUCO or D2 or D3, and their grind is just different. Like their lifestyle as opposed to D1 athletes is just different. So the fact that you created that type of environment and got the support for it with Evan Turner and other people who probably come on board now, that's crazy. Giving out the scholarships and really trying to make it bigger than basketball. Like LeBron James always says, we're more than athletes. So you just want to use basketball as a tool to say you can go further with that, but just know this program is to push you further in life in general, to be a mentor, to be a community a community hopeful, like anything like that. So I applaud you for that, for creating that. Because when I seen Undiscovered Showcase, I was like, it looks like kind of a camp for basketball and stuff like that, but you made it sound so much more. Like it's so much more than that.
Yeah. Really
I always tell kids, I used to always give a speech at the beginning of the showcase. I always say the same thing. All the college coaches over here and all the players right here. I say, hey, look over there. Do you see Coach K? Do you see Roy Williams? Do you see Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois? No, they're not here, and they're not walking through that door. You're a senior in high school. You finish your senior year. If you're going to go D1, it would have already happened by now. They would have found you. But every coach over there has a scholarship to their school where you can get out of Chicago, get a free education, and do something great with your life. So if they come up and talk to you, show them respect, show them attentiveness, and if they want you to visit their school, go take a visit, because that might be your ticket to whatever you want to do with your life. And I think a lot of people see basketball as this avenue. Oh, I can go pro. There's 450 players in the NBA. 450. That's not a lot.
Not at all.
Compared to the thousands that are in high school. Like,
but for me, the showcase really came full circle when a player who played in our very first showcase in 2009 came back 6 years later as a college coach to recruit more players. He came to the showcase, got a scholarship, graduated, became a coach, comes back to recruit, and it's like, all right, that's full circle. That's what we're shooting.
That's
for.
What it's about.
Mm-hmm. That's dope. All right, that's all the questions I think I had. But where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Do you see yourself branching off into something else or continuing on the path that you're on right now?
And I just trust God and let the path be laid out for me. Nothing in my career has actually been planned. Like I said, I didn't plan on creating a high school basketball website. The path just opened up for me. I follow my passion. I didn't plan on producing a movie. And two filmmakers reached out and it just happened. Yeah. I didn't plan on becoming an agent, but enough people asked me to do it that I went ahead and did it. I didn't plan on starting my own company, but when I realized that none of the companies in agencies out there fit my values or what I was trying to do, and there were other like-minded people in the business that wanted to work together with me for us to start our own agency, we went ahead and did it. So I know that I want to continue with my partners to build beyond athlete management. I know that I want to continue helping players build their careers and do great things in their communities. But as far as what's next for me, I don't know. We'll see what life has in store for me, but I'm just going to keep riding this wave and trying to do the right thing and having fun with it.
And do you see yourself expanding soon? I think you said it's 10 to 15 people in your business. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, our agency, we have about probably about 15 employees. Yeah.
15. Do you see yourself expanding, more people, more agents, things like that? Or you want to keep it small?
We'll see. We'll see what life has in store for us. We're just focused on the clients we have and helping them build their careers, and who knows what life has in store. We're just focused on, as the pandemic has taught us, you can't really plan too much for the future because some can always happen. We're just focused on doing the best we can right now.
Yeah. And congratulations, man. We appreciate you for coming on.
Congratulations again. I had one more question. So just for anybody who's watching this, what are some agent tips that you can give? I know you gave us the advice earlier on just creating your own content and like having that branch into something more, but what are some tips you can give to people who are in school or out of school, like anything that's general advice that you can give for the agent field?
Read books, read. That's advice for any field. Reading is my lifeline. Reading is everything to me. I owe every bit of my success to reading and the knowledge that I can get from that. It's like you can learn from your own mistakes, or you can learn from the mistakes other people have made and can teach you. You can everything that is going to happen on your journey, someone's already been through it and learned the lesson.
Exactly.
Knowledge is everything. So I would say I can't give specific advice on how to become an agent, because it's almost like giving advice on how to make it to the NBA. It happens for some people, it doesn't. I got lucky. I can't take credit for becoming an agent. I got lucky that the path kind of opened up for me. Mm-hmm. What I would say is if you read constantly and you continue to pour knowledge, into yourself, you're putting yourself in a position to succeed in whatever you do, and for that path to open up for you. You can create your own look. You can create your own luck you continue to educate yourself and enrich your mind and be open and curious to the knowledge that's out there, things will probably work out for you. And I guess the other advice I would give is the temptation to do the wrong thing is always going to be there, but if you do the right thing, it's always going to be the right thing at the end of the day. Every step of this journey for me, there's always a temptation to cut a corner, to cheat, to lie, to steal. And if you resist that at every step, you just do the right thing. You might not get the short-term gain, but your reputation is going to carry you. And I'm lucky that my reputation has carried me to this point. And every step of the way, I had a chance to ruin that for myself. But so that would be my advice: is don't cut corners, don't cheat, don't lie. Be true to yourself, be true to your values, and things will work out for you.
Man, dropping bars, man. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good way to wrap it up, man. So where can listeners find you on social media and Beyond Athlete Management?
On Instagram at beyond.am, as in athlete management. On Twitter, beyond_am. And then I'm just at Daniel Poneman on all socials. So you can find me there. DM me, reach out. Maybe after free agency and the draft, I'll have time to respond to some people. It's probably the last podcast I'll do until I go in my draft bunker.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's like I appreciate you, showing love to our clients and making cool videos. So it's only right that I come in here and have a good conversation with you guys.
Hey, man, we appreciate it. No,
I followed you on Twitter. I followed the Beyond Athlete Management Twitter and the Undiscovered Showcase Twitter. So I'll definitely make sure and go on IG and follow all of the social medias as well.
Yeah.
Hey, did I follow you back?
Yeah, it should show up. But if it doesn't, on Instagram, I'm Edgar Martin Official. So that'll be the one that you see for me. And then I'm Edgar Martin 97 on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna find you for sure.
Yeah. We're gonna try to get some of your players on here too. So I don't know. It's all about connections, man. We might as well.
Yeah.
Tyrell, get Jay Sean, all of them, try to get some of them on here, man. Definitely try to hook that up.
For sure, we gotta hook it up. You guys are good at what you do. I appreciate all the research you put in this interview, watching the movie, you guys are good at what you do. So I'll definitely come back again sometime in the future.
Hey,
thank you.
Man.
Appreciate that
for coming on.
Everybody, that was Daniel Poneman, NBA agent, co-founder of Beyond Athlete Management, Emmy-nominated producer for Shot in the Dark, founder of Undiscovered Showcase, just a great guy from Chicago, Illinois, who found his path on being an NBA agent. And he's granting so many opportunities to young athletes, inner city kids who might not have that D1 opportunity. Like, he's just presenting a lot of youth with help and compassion and just trying to give everybody that bridge to success. So shout out to Daniel Poneman one more time for joining the pod. Our first NBA agent. So shout out to that. We ain't never had nobody of that stature. We done had athletes on here before, but it was good to get a behind the scenes look at the people behind the athletes.
Yeah. So that was real, bro. That was real. So shout out to Daniel. So we definitely going to have him on probably in the future, bro. So definitely be on the lookout for that.
Hopefully we can get some of his athletes. Hopefully one day. Yeah.
Tyrell. And y'all should be looking out for Tyrell too. Tyrell Terry, most likely going to be a first round pick in this draft. Definitely look at that.
Keep a lookout for Caleb Weston too. I think he had a pro day video or something like that, and he had a real high 3-point shooting percentage in that.
Something along those lines. Yeah. And definitely go check out Shot in the Dark. Like I had told Daniel, all you had to do was type in Shot in the Dark, Chicago documentary is going to come up. You have to get like a little preview. It's nothing that you can clearly just go to and watch it. You got to get like a little free pass or whatever, but you can see it and on multiple devices. So we appreciate you for listening. So Edgar, hit him with the social media.
You can follow us on Twitter at Q&E Podcast 1. You can follow us on Instagram at Q_and_E_podcast. You can follow and like our Facebook page, Q&E Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the notification bell and hit all so you can see anytime that we drop new episodes. Our email, QANDEpodcast@gmail.com for any business inquiries, questions, concerns, fan mail. We'll try to get back to you on there as soon as possible. You can reach Quincy on Twitter at Q_Hicks3. You can reach me at Edgar Martin 97. You can reach Quincy on Instagram at Q Hicks Production, and you can reach me on Instagram at Edgar Martin Official.
Yes, sir. And you can subscribe to us on all of our podcast platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're trying to get on Amazon Music right now, bro. So just continue to keep pushing the podcast. But we definitely appreciate y'all. And I think that's it for this.
road to 200 on the YouTube. So make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, share it to all your friends, family. We talk about sports, entertainment. We talk about a lot of stuff. So don't ever feel like you can't tell somebody about our pod just because it's a sports pod. Like, no, we talk about TV shows.
We're expanding, bro. We're expanding.
Yeah, we expanded. We talk about current events. We just talk about the election for a little bit. May not be a whole episode, but you can definitely get a segment of damn near any topic if we feel like it's important enough and feel like people need to hear about it.
Yes, sir, man. So keep pushing it. We appreciate y'all for listening, and we out. Peace.